Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, September 26th. I'm John Weigell with Maria Gharib, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Alibaba's stock jumped 9% after announcing even more AI spending on top of their already massive $53 billion three-year commitment, proving that China's tech giants are just as caught up in the AI arms race as their American counterparts. Meanwhile, Google just launched Mixboard to compete directly with Pinterest. We'll cover that and more in today's AI update and the biggest headlines in business and tech right after this. All right, kicking us off today, Starbucks will soon put in place a $1 billion restructuring plan for the company. This restructure involves the closure of some of the brand's locations in North America and a layoff of 900 non-retail employees. This will be the second round of layoffs under new CEO Brian Niccol, the first one being 1,100 employees. So they're shedding fast. Next, the number 2 app in Apple's US App Store is called Neon Mobile. It's a new app that pays users up to $30 a day to let it record their phone calls and sell the data to AI companies to develop and train models. Not at all concerning at all. If you need an extra $30 a day, maybe go ahead. From there, we go to some music news. K-pop groups, real and fake, are really hot targets right now for investors. Between 2020 and 2025, Korean VCs have more than tripled their investment in entertainment properties, per the Korea Economic Daily. And after the recent international smash that was Netflix's K-pop Demon Hunters, the frenzy is widely expected to intensify. The search for the next global franchise has top VCs sinking cash into music groups, and being real doesn't seem to matter. Top VC firm DSC Investment is now backing Plave, a boy band of 5 wholly virtual dreamboats that sold 1 million albums in its first week on the market. It's getting dystopian. And finally, startup Parento raised cash to expand its paid parental leave insurance program focused on small businesses with just as few as 10 employees. The startup's impact could be really significant because access to paid parental leave eludes nearly 3/4 of U.S. private sector companies. So it could be quite a game changer. Okay, for more stuff like that, you can come back on Monday and hear some more headlines. But for now, we are getting into our AI update with Maria from the Mindstream newsletter. Let's get to it. Maria, welcome back. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, John.
Of course. As we do every week, I want to ask you something that you came across in the last week that is big in the AI world.
It's big in the education world and also AI world. So it's like a mix of everything, which was very nice for me to see. But also I got FOMO because one of the coolest things I saw this week, technically speaking, I think one of the coolest things I've seen in years, because I was used to study also. I have like degrees and I would have loved to see this in academia. Oxford is officially giving every student and staff free access to ChatGPT Edu, which is the premium version made for schools. So, it's a huge deal because universities have been panicking about AI being, the cheating machine, quote unquote. But Oxford's saying, everyone's already using it. So let's just teach people how to use it. Might as well
give it to them
responsibly. Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So they're even rolling out like training and like special courses and something called AI ambassadors. I don't know what that is, but like it sounds cool. It sounds like a very Oxford way of saying student reps who know how to prompt, probably.
Yeah, ambassador, yes.
Like it sounds like an Oxford thing.
Sounds very official.
So the point of this is that it isn't like about like replacing tutorials or essays. It's about preparing students for the real world where AI will be everywhere. Because, we're living with AI, so you might as well prepare them.
Yeah.
And it's Oxford sending a signal that if you want to graduate or like you are a graduate, etc., you can actually thrive in the world rather than, fighting AI and like being face to face with people that fight AI. So now you'd have the upper hand into everything else.
Yeah, and Oxford kind of joins the list of schools. There are some in the US that are cashing in on ChatGPT and using it at the university. And they also join a long list of companies that in the news this past week have been throwing a lot of money at OpenAI recently, NVIDIA being one of them. But yeah, they kind of join a big list in that. And I definitely want to direct the conversation over to a different kind of entity that's throwing a lot of money at AI, which is Alibaba, of all places, in China, declared last week that they plan to increase spending on AI models and infrastructure on top of a already $53 billion investment over 3 years. So it looks like the AI spending is everywhere. What do you make of Alibaba's move here?
They're making serious waves. I mean, I think we've known Alibaba to make these kinds of waves before. You know, they've done some pretty, I'm not going to say weird, I'm going to say nice things, because they're kind of like in the forefront of everything else when it comes to industries. It's especially when it comes to merch and, and you know, that kind of stuff. So their stock jumped nearly 9%, as you said, this week after CEO Edu Wu basically, you know, said $53 billion isn't enough. We're going to double down on AI. So they're pouring even more into models, infrastructure, and their cloud services, which already powers a lot of China's tech backbone. Because when you say China, you talk about like high-end tech.
Oh, yeah.
So they also came out with their new Qwen 3 Max model and announced a fresh data center from Brazil to Dubai, which tells you this isn't just about like domestic dominance. They're going pretty global with this.
Yeah.
The big takeaway is that everyone's treating AI like an arms race, and Alibaba doesn't want to just play catch up with the US giants. They want a seat at the table.
Right.
And I wouldn't really like say it's the wrong thing to do. I think this is how you win in a race, in my opinion.
True.
And when you hear Wu talk about like coming artificial super intelligence era, that's a way of saying we're not just building tools, we're building the future. And we're willing to outspend almost anyone to get there. So they're going to probably be ahead of a lot of people, and people are going to be very surprised by what's coming on the super intelligence things.
Oh, definitely. I mean, everybody is trying to outspend everybody, it seems like, these days, with throwing money at AI. It is a race, and, you know, the stocks reflect that. And I think that thing that Sam Altman said a few weeks ago about like the bubble bursting, I think it might be only a matter of time because of all this money in the market.
So much money.
Yeah, so much money. As a result, Alibaba's stock shot up 9%. Meta stock has been doing quite well this year. You know, all these companies, as the more they are pumping money into this, it seems like the more their publicly traded company benefits, at least for now. But also to redirect us in another direction, for things that you and I will buy on a daily basis, like clothes, you know?
Yeah.
It seems like AI is being tapped to help out retailers, a lot of them being US-based retailers like Gap, Macy's, Victoria's Secret. It's going to help them get more business, apparently. How is it going to do that?
I mean, agentic AI could be a $6 billion cost-saving machine for these retailers. And, you know, people have Gap, Macy's, and Victoria's Secret all over the world, not just the US.
Yeah.
So we're talking about trimming in areas like supply chain and inventory planning and even customer service. And if that plays out, profit margins in retail could jump 20% by 2026, which is insanely huge for an industry that's always been like stuck with a razor thin margin. But obviously there's nuance. You know, some analysts aren't buying the hype yet. There's a big difference between saying AI can help us target customers better and actually proving that it drives sales or saves money. But still, the potential is insanely massive. Imagine AI telling retailers, you know, not just who's buying, but what, when, and at what discount. You know, it's insane. Like, I would love me some discount, honestly.
Same.
You know, that's how you stop guessing and start actually competing with big conglomerates like Amazon, because Amazon's leading the game when it comes to that. So
Of course.
We'll see. I think it's going to put them head to head.
Yeah, the retail game can transform. It's looking pretty good for these companies with AI. It's not necessarily looking like analysts are predicting. It's not exactly going to turn the tide necessarily, because retail has been on a downswing for the past few years.
Yeah.
However, it will definitely help. And I think it'll be a good step for all these retailers into the world of more e-commerce shopping.
100%.
And finally here, let's talk some Google, because Google is kind of expanding out in a lot of places with AI. And one of the ways that it's expanding is kind of into Pinterest's sphere.
Ooh.
Because Google just announced this feature called Mixboard. What is it, and how is it making Pinterest's life harder, potentially?
I mean, it's basically Pinterest with an AI engine strapped to it. So instead of like curating pins, you can throw in a text prompt like Parisian apartment vibes with moody lighting, or Scottish Isles, you know, and like with really nice rain and like a very nice outing. And it instantly generates a whole mood board for you. Basically, you can tweak it, you can combine or even regenerate images until it matches your vision. That's pretty rough for Pinterest.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It sounds pretty rough for everyone. I'm a Pinterest girly, so when I read this, I was like, oh no. But then also, I think it's just like everything's competing with everyone, as you said, because
True.
There's a big Gen Z breakout that came from shuffles. So the collage tool people use for TikTok edits, they're gonna be on board with that. And with Mixboard, it like skips the manual collecting stage entirely. So it's not just like penning pretty pictures anymore. It's AI brainstorming it into visual forms.
Right.
In my opinion, a lot of people that work in design and work in like the fashion industry or anything that has to do with aesthetics are gonna be very happy with that. If this takes off, Google's not just, nipping at Pinterest's heel. They're coming straight for a part of the platform that actually hooked younger users in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's a bit wild, in my opinion, because I don't like to see other apps just go down the drain. But also, that's the calling for Pinterest to do something extravagant,
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of on Pinterest now to develop some sort of AI functionality to be able to combat this, or do they stick to their guns and do what they've been doing? But whatever they got to do something to make it easier and more fun to use their platform than this other platform.
100%.
And Google's kind of getting into every industry right now. So
you get a Google and you get a Google and everyone gets a Google.
Literally, Google is going to start doing this podcast next week, probably.
I mean, maybe.
Potentially. So there's a lot going on with Google, but I think Pinterest just really needs to rally itself and just do something a bit different to counteract this, because they do have an insanely large user base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Maria, thanks for coming back this week. Thanks for giving us some updates, and we'll see you sometime soon, I'm sure.
Yeah. Bye.
See ya. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of Hubspot Media. Our editor is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clarke. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get yourself signed up at thehustle.co/email and follow us on Instagram at The Hustle Daily. We'll see you Monday.
Here's what blows my mind. Most people are sitting around waiting for their boss to give them a raise, while millionaires are building income streams in their spare time. Entrepreneur and creator Marina Magilko cracked the code on this. She built more than 10 income streams that now pull in over $100,000 a month. She shared the secret sauce with our team, so now we're sharing it with you, exactly how she did it. This guide gives you practical step-by-step strategies you can actually implement. So just pick just one income stream from her guide and watch what happens. Stop what you're doing right now and grab it in the show notes 6 months from now, and you'll be glad you did.